Rob, are we on? Thank you. We'll call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for May 16, 2022 to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Rutherford.
Here.
Mr. Hoover.
Here.
Mr. Collins.
Here.
Thank you.
Minutes of the regular session of May 4, 2022, our last meeting, have been distributed to members of the board. Any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval as presented?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. First on our agenda tonight is 143 Traditions Past. Nicholas Naves, are we on line here? Oh, there we go. Come on up. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Good. Tell us what you'd like to do.
I would like to approach my easement for my fence build daily because I lose 530 square feet in my yard if I do not. Then my dog would let me appreciate the extra room.
Nicholas, we've got in front of us a memo from our engineering staff, team development services staff actually, dated May 13th. Have you seen that? It's got 3 recommended conditions on it.
I remember probably seeing those.
Okay, well, let me just run through those. Our staff has recommended approval of this subject to certain conditions. And the first one is that the fence be constructed so as to allow for adequate drainage. And if it's ever determined that the drainage issue has been created somehow, that you will be responsible to correct said drainage issue. Have any problems with that?
No idea.
Okay. Second one is if there's ever any work that needs to be done within that easement by any of the utilities or the city, that you would be responsible for removal of the fence and replacement at your sole expense. And you would hold us harmless for any damage that might happen to your fence. Is
Yes,
that
I would
okay?
like to. I have plans actually in the fence building that you know my life if I have to.
And then the final one is that prior to constructing the fence, you call Indiana, or I guess you get online to Indiana 811 to notify them of doing that so they can come out and make sure any buried utilities are identified.
Yes.
Okay. Having any questions for Nicholas?
I'll move for approval. I'll say 3 conditions.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Next. There you are. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What are we going to get this time?
Well, actually, I have 2 items. The second one didn't make it on the agenda. The first, we'll start with the one that did. Here, asking for approval of purchase for the State of Nation utility, a 2023 John Deere 310 SL HL backhoe from Westside Tractor using Sourcewell contract. The purchase price on that unit is $122,476.02. Also asking approval of trade-in of the sanitation 1998 John Deere 310 SE, serial number ending 839032. And they're giving us trade-in value of $24,000 even for that, which would bring the actual purchase price to $98,476.02. And that is to be paid for with funds that are available in the 2022 sanitation budget.
Questions for Todd?
I would move we approve the purchase request. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And the second one?
Second one is a request of approval to, we actually called up on our dump trucks. We just purchased the ones we were supposed to get a year ago. We have 2, this year's budget to be paid for out of the 21 general obligation bond. And the first one is on the ground. It was a show truck. We had the opportunity to do it. They have everything on there. So I'm asking, so that there's going to come at 2 different price points because the second one will be third quarter. So I'm going to explain that real quick. The first one will be 2023 Kenworth T380. So it's a little different design. It's still this plow truck with the plow and municipal body. It come in at using Sourcewell contract. come in at $211,675 even. And then the second one, on the same line, is asking to go ahead and commit to the one that was slotted, that again was slotted for us, which will be a third quarter build. So we can get that locked in before we get hit with any more premiums on that. And they're projected, which I'm told is worst case scenario price, so it could come in a little lower, but for that third quarter build would be $218,680. The increase is a combination of increase in steel costs for the body and this additional price increase for the chassis.
Budget for this?
And that's to be paid for out of, this is part of the 2021 general obligation law. These will both be for street department concern.
And is the second one a to not exceed amount? Are you okay with that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I cleared that with him today. He said that should, barring something really out of whack happening, which seems to be happening, that they don't expect it to exceed that.
well, why don't we do the first one first, the one that's on the ground now at 211,675. Is there a motion to approve that acquisition?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And then this next one is the one that's coming up third quarter with a to not exceed price of $218,682.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Next, Susan Zellers, Lindy South Greenwood Airport, the apron expansion.
Yes, I'm online.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening. Just want to give you kind of a quick overview of the project, and then what we're asking for. This project is to expand the apron at the airport to the south. The expanded apron will be crossing Pleasant Creek. We will enclose Pleasant Creek as part of the project. And then as part of the first phase, we're adding some additional stormwater detention and rerouting a 42-inch outlet that would, if we didn't reroute it, would go into the side of the enclosure, which would be a 3-sided structure, similar to what already goes under the apron and taxiway. We're just extending it for or it goes under the runway and taxiway. We're extending it for the apron. Second phase is to enclose it. And then the third phase is the actual apron construction. That says it's currently programmed. Potentially, given the current construction pricing, there's a chance it might stretch out a little bit longer, get all the work done, but has FAA and NDOT support for this. As part of the project, we did early coordination with the city staff in July of last year, and then also in August with the city staff. And at that time, we anticipated outside review, which now it's internal review. But given that Pleasant Creek flows through the site, as well as the 42-inch outlet drains the southern part of the airport that's already existing, rather than focus on the specific rates for the new developed area, what was determined as the appropriate approach was to design the project and the detention so that the future discharge rates for 10-year and 100-year are at or below the existing rates. And so for this project, we have an existing condition that we modeled, a proposed condition that was modeled that is the expansion of the apron, and then some tug roads that will connect the apron to the hangars north and south. And then finally, there's a future condition in which south of Pleasant Creek, the airport owns land where additional hangars and taxiways can be constructed. And there's an interest in essentially getting ahead of the stormwater by building the detention. And by building it now, it can go under the apron, so making good use of airport space. But through that, we're not meeting the peak flow rates in the stormwater management, but we are in both the proposed and future condition, bringing down the discharge rate to below the existing conditions level. And so we're asking for a waiver for the specific discharge rates in the technical manual, but believe that this project, because of the detention that's being built, will not change what is leaving the airport property as far as the discharge rates.
Thank you. Mark, I know we've got a memo from you about this. Any additional thoughts that what she just provided us with?
No, I think she summed it up pretty well. They're not meeting the requirements in our stormwater ordinance, which is why they're here presenting a waiver. They do face several unique challenges being an airport, being at the airport, which I feel like she touched on well. The waiver request has 5 specific criteria, and we feel they've addressed all 5 of those criteria appropriately. And they are, like she said, reducing the runoff generated by the site to below current levels. So they are making an effort to improve the site. They're not making it worse.
Great, thank you, Mark. Questions, from members of the commission? The board, excuse me. Now, is there a motion on this matter?
I would move that we approve the waiver request finding the 5 conditions have been met as outlined in the engineer's report.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have a specific document that sign. Next, let's go on to Derek Brown, Canal Properties, President of South Business Center.
Derek is not present tonight. I'm actually representing it. This is Trey Hunt with the Peterson Company, the builder.
Okay, good evening.
We are requesting the release or the acceptance of all of our maintenance bonds on the project and the release of all of our performance bonds on the project per getting our final completion with Jeff Weaver in the city of Greenwood.
We have a memo from Paul Perry on this, gentlemen. Any other quick questions or comments or additions from Mark? Your office, anything other than what's in our memo?
It's my understanding the field inspection by Jeff has been completed by our department. They just have to pay the second half of their general inspection and testing agreement, which we recommend you approve as a condition of your approval.
I would move for approval with that one condition, to pay $2,337.50 to the city of Greenwood.
Second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thanks. Tell Derek. did a
Thank
good
you,
job.
gentlemen.
Next on our agenda, Chad Oldham. Chad, you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you online.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chad Odom with Beezer Homes. I am the land manager for the Indy division. We have completed some legacy improvements that were needed in the Tuscany community. And I see I'm slated for 3 different slots on the agenda. So I'll just start off with section 1. Working with Jeff Weaver, we have completed those sidewalk repairs, and we request that the performance bond be released. And we're also respectfully requesting a waiver of the maintenance guarantees due to the longevity of the project.
And Chad, those, for all 3 sections are essentially the same request, correct?
Correct.
Just different amounts on the bonds?
Correct.
I would add section 3 includes erosion control. Section 1 and 2 is just sidewalks.
Yeah, and there was a sign and monument performance bond as well that it was inspected by Jeff, and then the erosion control bond was the inspection was done by Mike Weaver concerning the erosion control.
So section 1's been in for 10 years, right?
Yeah, I was told 8+. Yes, very well.
So 2 says the same thing.
And then what about 3? How long has it been?
So 8 years.
8?
Okay, yeah, must be 8 plus all three of them.
Okay.
Well, let's do section 1 first. Gentlemen, is there a motion on this matter?
I move that we approve the request and waive the maintenance guarantee.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now as to Chad's request with respect to section 2.
I'll move for approval on that. Second, wait.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Motion passes. And finally, on section 3 of custody of debtors.
Move that we approve the request and waiver the maintenance guarantee and release.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
You too. Next is Ross Murder from CRG Residential. Talk about Swartz Crossing Commercial Subdivision.
Rob,
That one is there. I might be able to do it without two, so. That would work too.
This one.
this one. Yeah, or you can just say next slide and I'll take it.
Thank you. Thank you for taking your time today to hear my requests.
There you go.
On behalf of CRG Residential, and as part of the Swartz Crossing Commercial Development Project at roughly Stones Crossing Road, State Road 135, we're requesting a temporary road closure of Stones Crossing Road for 30 days, beginning July 25th. This allows for the full depth reconstruction of the road, the intersection, mainly centered around Stones Crossing Road and Galena Drive. Per there were city approved plans for the project, November 21. Got that done. Mainly the reason for the temporary request is just overall general speed of the project, safety of people working on the project, and vehicles driving by, as there'll be nearly 3 feet deep of full depth reconstruction. In general, as you see here is the overall project location. And I think we also have any other slides too. There's plan detail in here that northernmost east-west road is Stones Crossing Road. That's the piece that we're talking about today. I can come back to you if you have more questions, but this is some plan detail of what is being done. And I'm proposing a detour route. I think I met a couple weeks ago with engineering department, Mark and Jeff Weaver, and all discuss about what our options are. And so this is what I think would be the most efficient detour route that I would propose. Open to obviously any suggestions. The red lines, as you see, would be the kind of the points of closure. Yellow line represents the detour route. And just some typical examples of signs that we use in notification prior, 30 days prior to any areas being closed.
So if we could go back to the section of close.
It's right.
On Stones Crossing, what's on the north side of the road there?
The north side of the road is the Barn and Horse, Bay Horse Inn, and then also the Copper Chase Apartments.
So to the west of the red line, rest of the closure, is that Emmanuel Church?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so if you wanted to go to Emmanuel, you're gonna have to come from 135, correct?
Yes.
How about the house, isn't the hospital facilities on there too?
Yeah, all that access will, up until that red line will remain open. So it's only the piece of the road construction stops after the last ingress egress to the hospital.
What about the barn? Bay Horse?
So Barn Bay Horse, there's access through off of 135 through the apartments area. There's a contiguous roadway to there, put it that way.
There's a what kind of roadway through there?
Just a contiguous path. I mean, there's access to that. What I don't know, what I would, I guess, look to the city is whether or not those are private, public roads. I don't. Private roads. Okay.
And then so Barn Bay Horse Inn and the Copper Chase Apartments are both no access from Stones Crossing, correct, under your proposal?
Repeat that question again, sorry.
So Copper Chase, there's no access from Stones Crossing, but the Barn Bay Horse Inn, there's also no access from 130 or from Stones Crossing.
Not from Stones Crossing, correct? There is, I wish.
I would,
Okay, I had it. Cut it off. There is, just right at the top of the picture, it's cut off, there's access an east-west corridor straight to 135 to get to the apartments, and that's how the access will get. It's not off of Stones Crossing, it's off 135.
private road.
That road's private as well.
Is that the same road we're talking about?
Oh, I just meant through the apartments to get to Bay
Oh.
Barn Bay. I don't know the interior streets of the road.
Okay, here's the manual, and here's the apartments, and here's the barn.
I actually could.
Yeah, that probably would help.
I don't see it.
Sorry.
That doesn't.
Smoky Road in June. That was 2 weeks.
And some people are happy. Months. Wow.
30 days. So those are full reconstruct when they're gonna do the same thing. Going south.
Hang on,
There,
let me
2
share
weeks.
this.
Here it is.
They can see it. You know how to navigate. them.
You can zoom in or anything. Let me know. At Grove Crossing Boulevard is the access to the apartments that I was talking about off of 135.
And that's not, there's not a signal. I don't believe so, on 135, for those people turning, want to turn left, or. Feral.
Why do you need 30 days?
This doesn't.
That's the general, the site contractor doing the road work estimated a 3-week period of construction, giving themselves an extra week for weather delays.
So to get to the barn at Bay Horse Inn, you have to come in up here and then down here.
And I don't believe any of those roads are public rights of way.
And then, yeah. Yep. I'd be opposed to that.
Yeah. It's too long. It's too heavily to travel.
Well, and that, there,
Deputy Mayor.
Like access.
the barn,
Who's gonna say?
the barn has a, you know, that's a business, they have weddings and people that, you know, don't normally even,
Copper Chase has a lot.
might be,
Well,
you know,
apartments.
not be familiar with. That whole thing.
Mr. McLaughlin, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, now that you ask, I don't feel this is enough for the mayor's office. The amount of traffic's on that road, school will be back in session. So that means that then we have to deal with Center Grove schools. And again, I question the length of time for no more than the distance of this road. And I guess if you do happen to grant it, I would ask you mandate them to work
longer hours, do Monday and work weekends as well. Make that part of it if you decide to do that, because your phones are gonna ring on this
Yeah, I just don't like using that public road, the private road, excuse me, out to 135 with not being a signal intersection.
You'd have to have signs there pointing to
Yeah, but even,
not only the apartments, but to the Bayhorse Inn and that all through there on that private property.
most people trying to.
Can you do half of a road and do half one lane, then do the other lane?
That is the option, isn't it? I know it's more time consuming.
It's my understanding that's how it's been constructed in the past for similar projects here in Greenwood. Other developers, they would construct the outside lanes and then, you know, the acceleration, deceleration, turn lanes, and then go to the inside lanes.
Other thoughts, questions? I mean, I guess my position, I'll make the motion, is that we deny the request for full lane closure and give you the option to work with staff to come up with an alternative that keeps one lane at least open. Appreciate the effort to try to get it done quickly and go through there, but there's just too many obstacles to safety and access that cause me that concern. So that'd be my motion.
Second.
Further discussion. I guess with that motion being, going to come back, if it passes, you need to work with staff and come up with an alternative plan. Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Ross. Is there anyone from the audience who wish to address us? Yes?
Yes, sir.
I didn't make enough copies for you guys.
That's okay, we can share.
You can give it to them, they'll get some.
Okay, here. Have two you can share.
Okay.
Okay.
Please tell us who you are and
I will.
what we can do for you.
Hi, excuse me. Sorry, my name is Cheryl Slemons. I'm a Greenwood resident, have been for over 30 years. And the reason for attending is I just need some guidance in what I need to bring to your meeting maybe at the next time. We have a real drainage issue in our neighborhood that has become really a problem in the last 2 years. I've lived there 30 years. It's never been that bad. So I've given you specific houses in the area where it's really impacting us. We really feel like now we're gonna have a big mosquito issue, so I've contacted Johnson County Health Department. They've come out and looked at it. I've tried several of the departments in Greenwood, and I keep getting moved to another department, and everyone says there's absolutely nothing they can do. I've called 2 private contractors, and they keep sending me back to come back to you guys. So I'm not sure what you need to look at the issue. That's all I need.
Let me ask questions if I might, not
Sure.
only of you, but of some
I don't
staff.
know that I can answer them, but I'll try.
Well, we're all in the same boat. Mark, have you been involved in, I know your tenure here is fairly short, but have you been?
Fairly new.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply anything.
That's all right. So I believe your email said you thought it was created by utilities, the issues in the,
I what?
did you believe the drainage issues that you're describing are created by utility work?
Partially by utility work, yes. You know, MetroNet came through and did lots of stuff back there without, they just did it. Duke had an issue December, January past. My neighbors and I lost our power So they came through and put a new power box in. Left quite a mess, big mess back there. So I addressed Duke, and they came and dumped more dirt back there and grass seed and straw. And so that's kind of impacted it as well. My neighbor's pretty good. He's a line person. He can do sextants and all that stuff. And he said our drainage is absolutely not going down through the swales like it's supposed to anymore.
Well, and it is that, again,
Yeah, so I,
perspective, it's not, those are swales that probably gotten filled in or modified by private individuals. And swales are maintained by
the
the
homeowners.
homeowners.
Correct.
Do you have a homeowners association?
Oh, no.
Okay.
It's an old neighborhood and the person who built that is long gone. I know who built that neighborhood.
Okay, but it's still your home and your neighbors want to have theirs.
I will say regarding the utility work, that would have to have been permitted through Community Development Services. Before this meeting, I thought we had found the permit that's applicable to it, but I believe we were slightly in a different area. But as far as that goes, now that we know that it was Metronet and Duke, and I can work with you to get the dates too, we can look and see if there's a right-of-way permit that was pulled. If that's the case, they are required to restore drainage and the soil and all that sort of stuff to its pre-existing conditions before they did their work. And my department, the engineering division and community development services would be the right people to help with that.
And you're in what department? Engineering?
Engineering, yeah, yes, it's a division of community development services. We're right here in this building.
So what do I need to do?
So I would meet with you. We could talk after this meeting or right now if you need to.
Do you have her contact information?
I don't believe so.
What's on that paper?
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't put my name on it. It's, the first name is Tom
You wanna
Sloan,
give
and I'm
that?
Cheryl, his wife.
Metronet tore my yard all to pieces,
Did
and
they?
several other yards, and did a lot of damage.
I'm gonna call AT&T because there are a couple old phone posts back there. Nobody has landlines anymore, and that's blocked some things, you know. My neighbor's willing to take down some trees that have overgrown, but I just think we have a great issue.
Well, Ms. Lemons, if you will get in touch with Mr. St. John, you know, he's got your contact, at least your phone number now. Maybe you can share your emails and things like that with him. And he can, hopefully he can give you some more information, and give you some more assistance of people who may be able to be found responsible to help you.
Okay,
I wish I could sit here and say for your benefit that it's the city's problem to go out there and fix it, but we don't think it is, at least
Okay.
initially.
but at least if you'll look into it and see, you know, what the issues are or not.
yes, if there are utility issues out there, we could make the utilities correct it. But yes, as Mr. Hoover has said, if it's maintenance of the swales, that is something that the city does not maintain and be done by the homeowners.
So when we moved in there 30 years ago, we put, it was very wet then even, and we put French drain all the way around our house, and we've allowed our neighbors to tie into that. The other thing that kind of happened is, and I know you guys had to do it, but when you went through and made everybody move their sump pumps, if they were doing it incorrectly, a couple sump pumps go back there now too, that didn't used to.
Well,
So-
hopefully we'll be able to give you some assistance in contacting the right people and getting you some enforcement
Great.
power to take care of it.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks
Thanks
for
for your
bringing the
time.
issue.
And I'll get your email. Okay.
I'll
Thank
give
you.
this to our clerk. so she-
Okay.
Anyone else in the audience wish to address us? Hearing none, we'll go on then to Mr. Hudson with the IDAM compliance plan status update.
There's nothing reporting IDM, all's well with IDM.
Very good. Your status of text. I like it. Thank you, Mr. Hudson.
This is my laptop. You guys got a copy of that? This is my personal share. So they bought it with it on there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Mark, we're up for you.
Yes. City engineer status of tasks. The first item we have before you is a discussion regarding revisions to the standard easement language for the Greenwood Estates Mobile Home Park, Section 3. It's my understanding that last year, more than a year ago, you all actually approved the language in the drainage easement documentation for the sanitary sewer main that's being built out there as part of this project. The documents were then forwarded to the developer to sign and record, and we never received that back. They've now asked for some revisions to both of those easements, and those are present before you tonight with the status, the line in question highlighted. It's my understanding that legal counsel doesn't have major concerns or any concerns really with these revisions. They just felt it was something that should be brought before the board since you had previously approved it.
Council is fine with it, and we're fine with it. I'll move that we accept the requested revisions and authorize staff to modify the limited drainage easement, sanitary sewer easements so reflect.
Second.
Further discussion? Right now, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next item we have for you is the Petski Auto Wash along with Gator Drive. I think you've seen them before this board a couple of times, the last couple of months. They are now requesting that we accept their performance bonds for dirt work, storm sewer, erosion control, streets and sidewalks, and to accept and execute the inspection and testing agreement.
I would we accept the performance guarantees and inspection test agreement. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Final item we have here is single parcel sanitary sewer service agreement at 1444 South Runyon Road, the Frank parcel. It's just allowing a single parcel to tie into our sanitary sewer main, and that agreement that goes along with that. Well, actually, it would be to prepare and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. We don't have to do that.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mark. Mr. Wright, no pressure from Mr. Hudson not having anything. For approval of the claims.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all. We'll stand adjourned at 6:08 p.m.